let me know. But DM me though, I got you. Peace and love. Hold on, I ain't bring Facebook in here. Hold on. Hey y'all. We in better spirits today. Hey, hey. Why don't you do it? All right, welcome in, baby boos, new and true to the Crystaline Mars Show. I am your co-host, Mrs. Duuble Jones. I am the lady with the stones to come here and to leave us alone, and I'm a spiritual guide to assist you in this life in any way that I can. Do you understand? We still have the stone of the day available on the website for 20% off. Super, super, super gorgeous piece, and she goes by the name of Divinity. Divinity 2.0. Remember yesterday I wanted to show y'all her, but I didn't have her on my person. But she's here. Let me show you what she look like on the wrist, miss. But this is how she looks. Super, super, super gorgeous piece available on the website. Like I said, she'll be going full price tomorrow around noon. She'll be going full price tomorrow around noon, so you can check out the website for all of her properties, and so you can order her as well. You'll get free shipping. I believe you'll get free shipping off of her if she makes the cut. I think she's like, I don't know how much she is on sale, y'all. Y'all gotta go see. But I want to show y'all that what I created today. Look at this lovely. Hey, Quamicia. Is that Quamicia? I believe that's you. Hey, baby boo. But look at this lovely here. Her name is Rooted in Love because we have some rose quartz love stone here. We have pyrite. Are you the front? No, you the back. But yes, we have rose quartz, pyrite, and clear quartz. Super gorgeous piece available on the website. She's going to be going on sale tomorrow. So if you do got dibs on her, I'm just giving y'all a heads up. Y'all can snatch her up now. First come, first serve. Or you could wait, try to shoot your shot tomorrow when she goes on sale. But I love this piece. She said so soft and serene. Literally, I mean, like she is, I might have to change her name to Serene. I think I like Serene. Super clean. But yeah, so this is the latest, greatest I created on the website. And so y'all make y'all spiritual investments and get what you need. And also, y'all meet us on all social media platforms on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Thank y'all. Thank you. And yeah, you don't forget to send y'all love offerings. And remember, I tell y'all, the prizes are solely dependent on, for our raffles that are held on the 1st, those prizes are solely dependent on y'all's love offerings. Y'all's love offerings. So I know we just getting started. We gotta like get that energy cooking back up again. But we have a lot of gorgeous pieces that could be available to you to win if y'all send y'all love offerings in. Okay, so $5 equal an entry. March 1st will be our next jewelry raffle. But other than that, we're going to go ahead and move on because we got to go, okay? So let's go ahead and move on to the message of the day. And the message of the day is, you were not forgotten about. You were not forgotten about. You are not forgotten about. You will never be forgotten about. And you are loved. Logas was looking at something on social media earlier, and he was watching this video like on repeat, and the song that was playing in the background was You Are Loved by Cleo Soul, and it goes like, know that you are loved, even if you don't love yourself. So some of you may definitely want to hear that song. That could be some energy, that could like be like a very healing song. It could bring some kind of reassurance. I don't know. Even if it doesn't, that was the message. So, and I'm feeling heavy in the heart, like to work with the hearts, right? So if some of y'all are feeling heavy in the heart, in the heart arts, and you're definitely struggling with self-love or loving yourself in this season for whatever reason, head over to the website, crystalinmars.com, and book your Love Me Unconditionally ritual, available for 20% off. But that pretty much like wraps in with the message of the day. That ritual does. That this energy wraps in with the actual energy of the day that we're now going to roll into, because 2/21 2025, the energy that I pick up on this day is more so, what do you need to close the door to? You hear it in the back. But we have, like, what doors you need to close on this day. What doors do you need to open, right? Some of you may be waiting for somebody to unlock something, waiting for somebody to love you, waiting for somebody to support you, waiting for somebody to pour into you, waiting for somebody to reciprocate energy. But we have that 5 energy here because 221 adds up to 5. The daily energy adds up to 23, which adds up to 5, bringing in that adaptability energy. So this may be a very like uncomfortable season. You may be spending a lot more time by yourself, or you may be around a whole lot of people. You may be in a room full of people, but you just feel disconnected. You may sleep with your partner every night, but you just feel disconnected. You may your siblings or your parents may check in throughout the week or whatever, you know. You may get compliments every day, but you still feel alone. And so with that, Spirit just wanted to come through like to remind you, and there's definitely something that is going to be manifesting over these next few weeks where Spirit's like, see, I told you I got you. See, I told you I heard your prayers. You know, and this this support, this love may come in from actually the thing that you didn't even know, or the person that you didn't even know you needed it from, or a person that you didn't even expect to be able to show up for you in this way. This does not, and when I say this love, it doesn't have to be only emotionally. It could be love in all of its facets, right? It could be love like in compliments. It could be love and encouragement. It could be love and actual like emotional support. It could be love like financial love, whatever it may be, you know. And so on this day, on the 21st, like I said, like really conducting some self-love rituals, looking in the mirror, and again, having those conversations with yourself, like, what do I need to give me? What am I continuously asking for externally? What am I continually talking to my partner about? What am I continuously asking my mama to show up as? Or what am I continuously requesting from those outside of me? And how can I give that to myself? And you may be frustrated, like, bitch, I'm tired of giving it to myself, right? You're like, I've been pouring. Like, when can I be poured into, right? And I understand, and those feelings are valid as well. Okay, I channeled this on a daily energy, like, you know, that may be something that you need to reflect on too, because you may actually feel some kind of way, or you may be lying to yourself, like, I don't need these things, or maybe I am too needy, or maybe and it's like, no, your feelings are valid. It is okay and expected for you to have desires, okay, for you to have needs. But it is just important. There's nothing wrong with being dependent either. Okay, because some of you are like, you may feel like you got to just be completely independent in this season, and that's not necessarily it. It may just be, again, you adapting right now, and you're seeing what grace looks like when it comes to holding space for those around you, to give them time to grow and allow themselves to express love, right? Sometimes we have expectations from people who don't have the capacity to love us, to respect us, to show up for us in the way that we want it, when we need it, in the way that we need it, when we want it, or whatever. And some of you are seeing like, right, this is a journey, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, that's why it's important for you to, one, express these needs so you can make it known, but then go turn this energy inward. So on this day, definitely turn this energy inward. Some mirror work, some mirror magic, writing some affirmations, even journaling, because some of you have a lot of thoughts, and you may have been doing a lot of communicating when it comes to externally, whether it was your therapist or with your partner or to your mother. And you may have really been exercising that throat chakra with the blue energy that we have for today, right? And with that 5 energy that represents the communication. So it may have been like something that you've been practicing, and so it's like, now, okay, now let's move inward. What conversations do we need to have with ourselves? What reassurance do we need to provide for ourselves? What do we need to come to terms with? What do we need to burn? What do we need to release? What do we need to cultivate, so we can, at the end of the day, be good? Okay, because at the end of the day, we are human, we are flawed, and we have shortcomings. Okay, and sometimes we forget that, especially when we are in those moments where we feel like we really need something, especially to the lovelies who feel like you just pour. And then when you finally are in a space where you need it, you expect like, well, I always pour. And so yes, I expect for you to show up. And again, like, I get it, but again, We are human. And not everybody is working on your time. Not everybody's heart is where your heart is. Not everybody's mind is where your mind is. Not everybody's capacity is where your capacity is. So how can you, again, move it inward? Okay? So that's what we got for the energy pretty much. You may just really see like how you got to show up for yourself. And don't be mad at nobody, you know, but more so be mad at yourself if you continue to ignore what you need to give yourself. Okay? And the moment we begin to shift your energy, you know how when you're like looking for something, say you lost your keys, and you're like, where are my keys? Where are my keys? And you just can't seem to find them damn keys. You just can't seem to find them damn keys. And then when you're like, you know what? Well, I'm gonna just like let it go right now. I'm gonna try to do something else, and then by the time I leave, hopefully I find my keys. And then you go do something else. You go put your perfume on, put your jewelry on, whatever. And then next thing you know, you are led to your keys. That's the energy as well. When you start to chase things, what happens when you chase anything? It runs. It runs. Okay? And so it's about you, when you begin to really let go of this strong desire of where like you need this thing in order for you to feel whole, that's when things will start to come in for you. When it's no longer like a strong need of yours, and it's more of like a bonus, it's more of like a plus. Okay, so continue to pour into yourself and know that all that you have poured into your business, all you have poured into your siblings, all you have poured into everybody outside of you, that will be poured back into you. And so like we declared recently on the Crystaline Mars show, as well as the daily energy, I allow support. I allow support. Allow the support to come in. And it's going to come in from here, from there, from every fucking where. But maybe you were like, no, I need the support from you right now. Give it to me in this way. And that person's like, bitch, this is all I got, right? It's like trying to rob somebody. So, this is all I have. All I have is $5, and you telling me to give you $20. All I have is $5, and you over here frustrated because you're like, bitch, I need 15 more, right? And so, but you're gonna get the 5 from them, and then you'll find it's a 5 over here, it's a 5, and I'm not talking about necessarily robbing different people, but you get my point. Like, you asking for 100 from somebody, and they're like, well, I have 5, I got 5 on it, I got 15, you know what I mean? And so it's like Spirit's going to start bringing this community in, start bringing these people in, start bringing this energy in from all of the different sources, and you're going to be like, okay, and you're going to see that's why it's important when it comes to relationships. That's why it's important to zoom out. That's why it's important to continue to pour in wherever your heart leads you to. Okay? And that will be reciprocated even if it's not from that person. All right, so that's the energy, the perspective. Just really open your mind up to like, okay, where else is the love coming from? How else can I feel the love? How else can I give the love? Right? And so that's pretty much the daily energy for the day. It's going to be pretty much inviting us to go in and really reflect on the relationship that we have with ourselves. And so the colors for the day are pink and gold. Super, super cute. And the ritual that I would recommend for the day is the Love Me Unconditionally ritual, which is the self-love ritual, essentially. Available on crystalinemars.com. And the crystals for the day are pink tourmaline and rose quartz. All right. You said in the unthinkable plan? Yes, for sure. All right, let's see. And we got Do for Love playing now in the background. So we're definitely in this very loving, abundant energy from source. From source. Okay? And I just heard like multiple sources of income. Multiple sources of income. So this is going to be coming in from multiple sources. This energy is coming in from multiple sources. Okay, but you may have been limiting it to one thing, isolating, because y'all know this is giving like a relationship kind of vibe where you know how when you get in a relationship and you like tunnel vision, you block everybody else out. Look at y'all with the hearts. Those colors are so freaking cute. You know how you may tend to block certain people out, or you start to have a stronger connection with this friend, and so then you start to kind of like neglect the other friend. And it's like, no, that other friend matters too. Or no, like you're in a relationship, but your platonic relationships matter too. You know, your siblings and all of them, they matter too. All right. And so that's what we're seeing, like the importance of the community and the relationships that we have with people. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with Tarot Tea Time, You and Me Time. See what we got here tonight. If y'all do want a reading, you can go ahead and send your love offerings in, and I will do them first come, first serve. I saw y'all over here talking on YouTube. Tina was sending them 4-page letters, bitch. Tina, I can't read all your 4-page letters. But yes, I shade to everything that you said, baby boo. Yes, yes, yes. Miss Tina Bina, Miss Tina. Woo, Miss Tina got some things to say. Miss Tina got some things to say, baby. Let it out. Let it out, Miss Tina. I just can't read it. Okay, let's see. So I want to start with the angel number. All right. Okay, so we have 1221 here. This is energy adds up to 6. Tomorrow is a 6th day. That 6 is connected to the planet Venus, which has to do with like love, beauty, money. So we have work with what you have. All right. Well, the cards, the umbrella message is taking initiative. All right, but work with what you have and it will get you places. Count your blessings and acknowledge your dear ones. You will find inspiration and figure out a way forward. You might also be getting some good news soon. Okay, so work with what you have. Again. So with this 1221, I'm seeing a reflection here. We have 1313 in the back, which says starting fresh. But this 1221, I'm just seeing like that reflection and things being mirrored back to you. But, you know, depending on, it's like, I'm thinking about our house. Like we have hella mirrors around the house. These mirrors are different shapes. Some mirrors may have a little toothpaste stain on it a little bit. Some mirrors may not, you know. Some mirrors are older, some mirrors are newer. So they're going to be different kinds of relationships, different kind of reflections of you. Okay, Ashe. Aww. So interesting. So what I'm getting right now is with the different reflections of you, you may have, you know, we got like different sides. We have like different sides of us, different energies that we embody. And so there can be some shadow aspects of yourself that you're not quite aware of. And somebody may be mirroring that back to you. And it may be frustrating because you're like, I don't show you love like that. Like I don't show that to you. So why are you showing that to me? They are showing you, and you may not show up to them in that way, but you may show up to a stranger in that way. You may show up to your parent in that way. You may show up to your sibling who hurt your feelings or who abused you or whatever in that way. And so you're getting reflections of yourself, but it's for you to see, okay, in what relationships or in what seasons or at what times or whatever, when do that version of me show up? And I don't like how that make me feel. And you could set the intention that in those moments when that version of you that's being reflected of you shows up within yourself, you could set the intention that be brought to light for you so you can tap into that like, this is me playing out so-and-so's reflection. This is me playing that out now. And now that. Because maybe you are dismissive sometimes when it comes to certain situations, when it comes to certain people. And you may be being dismissed by somebody. And you're like, I don't like that. Like, why the freak you dismissing me? And you may not be aware that you're actually dismissive when it comes to other people's emotions. You know what I mean? Or when it comes to so-and-so specifically emotions. You know, or you're like, so-and-so is so freaking clingy. Like, why are they so... And you may find, ooh, I'm like that with so-and-so, or I'm like that when I am in this season, you know? So I do see this reflective energy here. And with the taking initiative, it starts with you. Again, moving it inward. Instead of projecting and making it about what they're not doing, making it about what they said, making it about where they're not showing up, look in the mirror. And again, ask, you owe you at the end of the day. You are your responsibility. And I understand, you know, the beauty in relationships, the beauty in partnerships, but at the end of the day, you are your responsibility at the end of the day. All right, so let's continue to pull. And while we got you playing in the background, it starts with you. So we about to close out. Regular Guys has entered, but he got to get the board right in the back. So we got about a minute or two. Ain't words that I'm spinning. Okay, so we have a longing for home, belonging, the original light workers. Okay, so some of you definitely are struggling when it comes to like this sense of, when it comes to this sense of belonging. You may feel out of place, and just trying to just find your way. Because I'm seeing like Dorothy. I'm seeing Dorothy with this longing for home, how she wanted to get back home and how she was putting all her energy into, or putting all her belief and faith into the Wiz. And even everybody else thought the Wiz had the answers, right? And then when they got to the end, they saw that the Wiz, it was all cap, you know. The Wiz wasn't even who he say he is. And Dorothy had what she needed to get back home. You know, all she had to do was just click her heels from the beginning, from day one. And so, again, it's about going inward. All right, but guess what other card came out, y'all? Mirror. Mirror came out. And it says, who or what is triggering you? So let this be confirmation in regards to everything that we just talked about. No need for me to expound because I already did. This is literally confirmation. All right. So like I said, the mirror work may definitely be something that helps you at this time. Or, you know, the relationships. The relationships. And are you willing to adapt? Or are you going to just be just so fixated in your ways? You know? And it's sometimes, because that's the thing, like you could be on a job for umpteen years or even months, and you have this way of being, this way of showing up, this certain way you put the stuff in the system, this certain way you do things. But then when you get a new job, it's a different system. And I mean, one of the dangerous things that we can say is, well, this is the way it's always been. This is the way I've always been. And I get it, like we are who we are, but at the same time, are you willing to adapt? Are you willing to adapt? Do you care enough to adapt? You know what I mean? Or are you just so stuck in what you're stuck in? You know, and how is that benefiting you? How is that benefiting those around you as well? Okay, so let's see. Because it's often that sometimes, like when we get in certain seasons, we're able to see like what's being projected onto us, and then we often are like, we start to deflect everything, like, oh no, that's a projection, that's a projection, that's a projection, that's a projection. And it's like, but at the same time, if you take a step back and you really consider what the person's saying, you may actually see the other side of it, where it's like, hey, actually, this is a moment where I'm being called up. This is a moment where I'm being called out. This is something for me to consider here. And like consider shifting, or consider, you know, taking a different approach. You know what I mean? Updating my system. Because maybe the way that you're used to operating is like, okay, you're operating on Apple iOS 8. Bitch, we on iOS 14. You know what I mean? And so it's like what you're doing may not be working anymore. And that is okay. And it's not about you just completely changing who you are or trying to change who you are. But again, adapting to the circumstances of now. Okay, and not just being so fixated in your ways or what you want, but considering both and seeing how you can meet in the middle. But are you first open, or are you just deflecting everything, or so quick to be like, oh no, that's your mirror, that's your shit, not mine? Like, are we not all reflections? So what parts of you are you rejecting? And that's why I said, when it comes to our relationships, our partnerships, our colleagues, our external realities, we're seeing all aspects of us. Okay, and it may not be the version of you that you completely show up to this person. It could be, like I said, a shadow that you show up with your children, or show up with your mom, or whatever. So, okay, we about to close out. I gotta close out with our declaration. I want to get one more from this Work Your Light though. You said I'm looking in the mirror right now in the bathroom. Ashe. And then when you look in the mirror and you look yourself in the eyes, are you able to just look at yourself without, look at yourself and really observe what thoughts come up? Look at yourself and observe what thoughts come up. Do any thoughts come up? Are you able to just look at yourself and just be still in that moment? You know what I mean? Are you uncomfortable when you look at yourself? Do things from your past come up when you look at yourself in the eyes that you don't want to think about, that you don't want to recall, that you don't want to accept or acknowledge? All right, so we're going to close out. We have no. We have wait, postpone, pause, and say no here. So we have some thunder in the back. We have some thunder in the back, and I'm just connecting that to that Shango and Oya energy here. And so with this no energy, there could definitely be some things that you need to, some boundaries that you need to set around yourself when it comes to what you will not allow yourself to take on. I just channeled that. But with this wait, postpone, pause, and say no, you might want to pause on having a conversation or bringing something up right now. There may be some space that need to be had and some clarity that needs to happen or something before you just jump into it. Because we did start with the take initiative. So definitely be mindful of impulsive decisions. Right now you mad and you ready to haul ass, or you in your feelings, so you think now is the best time to talk, and it may not be the best time to talk. Okay, so just sit with this message. All right, y'all, and we're gonna close out with our declaration. He said y'all wings are showing. Whose? Ashe. Our shoes. So what's our declaration for the night? We have, I am a leader. I am a leader, not a follower. But let's just say I am a leader. How can I evolve this? Because I don't really, it's nothing wrong with being a follower. You can be, because you could be a leader and a follower simultaneously. It's just a matter of who are you following, right? But so let's let the declaration be, I allow myself to lead and follow simultaneously. Or I permit myself to lead and follow simultaneously. Okay? May your heart lead you. May you follow your heart. I follow my heart. I allow my heart to lead me, right? Whatever one of those resonate with you, declare that down below in the comments. I do want to read this. There is a choice to be made. Confront the issue head on. Keep those emotions in check. Step into your role as a leader with confidence. It is safe to get expert help to make key decisions. Set an example through your actions. It's time to be real with yourself and others. All right. So it says, open your beautiful heart. Your power may not be loud, flashy, and showy, but you are a powerful leader. Just don't abuse that power. Do a self-check-in and make sure that you are not being cold, selfish, or manipulative. Remain in integrity. All right. Are you being cold, rigid, and uptight? Being real does not mean being stern. You may be coming across as cold, as calculating, even though that is not who you are. Ashe, Astar. So that concludes our tarot tea time of the night. Thank y'all again for sharing this space. This was a very beautiful show. It was like straight to the point. I feel full. How do y'all feel? But nonetheless, it's time for us to now transition over to the spiritual, gotcha graffiti, Ashe. It's now time for us to transition over to the spiritual lesson, and I will see y'all in the comments. Ashe. You said I would love a reading. Jazz, why didn't you send your love offering in, baby? I told y'all to send your love offerings in, and I didn't get none. So we kept them moving. So I'll see you tomorrow. You can send your love offering in now, and you'll get first dibs tomorrow. You can book on CrystalineMars.com, or you can come on tomorrow and send your love offering in at the beginning of the show. But yeah, we done now. We done, baby boo. So I love y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. You said you just got here. Oh yeah, we closed out for the night. We about to go ahead and move on to the next segment, but we will be live somewhere between 8:45 and 9 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. So feel free to join us there, or you can book. The information is down below, 20% off. You said very much fast food, but like the organic kind, right? Like the salad with the dressing and the tomatoes and stuff. Not like the McDonald's fast food, right? Not the 4 for 4. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all there. I love you, baby boo. Do I got everything? Yeah. Okay.
Peace, family. Today's spiritual lesson is on homesick, right? I heard Duublé say something about being homesick, so I felt, and she said the Wizard of Oz, and I actually got inspired to talk about that real quick. So homesick, it's normal to feel homesick, but typically a being will feel homesick because they're not quite ready or prepared to leave home, right? Not quite ready or prepared to leave home. So you left home for whatever reason, but you're homesick because you have, there's still things, maybe you don't have quite the tools, you don't know exactly where you're going, that type of thing. This is why Dorothy, she felt homesick. She was like, I wasn't ready to leave, right? Now she does eventually come back. Yes, she comes back. But understand that the Wizard of Oz is a series. And in that series, she does go back to the land of Oz many times. Many times. It's like a 15, 16 book series. She goes back, every time back to the land of Oz and back to other lands that are connected to Oz. Ashe. And then eventually she matured past the homesickness, and then it became about homecoming. Homecoming. And the homecoming part wasn't her actual home where she's from. The homecoming part was about where she belongs. And it wasn't just about where she belongs, it's about where the other beings belong too. The Tin Man, the Lion, the Scarecrow, even Toto, right? And other beings, the Wizard himself, and many other characters that show up during the series, right? It's about homecoming. It's about coming to your home, your spiritual vibration, your true frequency. Ashe. And then at the end of the series, it's about realizing, remembering your kingship, your queenship, right? It doesn't necessarily have to mean that you are ruling over other people, ruling over a nation, but you're finding your crown, meaning completely opening up your chakras, which starts from the crown chakra as far as the downloads, and gaining full access, downloading the full access to your energy, to your true soul energy, right? Where that your source energy, which would be your soul matrix, right? And is about remembering and finding the king or the queen within you, or the crown, all right? Or fully putting on your crown so you can get that full download. Ashe. And we see this in the last book of the Wizard of Oz series. You see this because one of the characters, I don't want to ruin the story if you haven't read it, but one of the characters is actually it's beyond that, actually, because all of the characters find their kingship, find their queenship, they find their crown. The wizard finds his highest self. The Tin Man finds his highest self. The Lion finds his highest self, right? Dorothy finds, her higher self. Toto finds his highest self, right? In a sense, even Dorothy's parents or grandparents, I don't know, their parents, I think they're grandparents, they find their highest self in a sense as well, you could say. Just a little spoiler, the grandparents do end up going into the land of Oz, if you were wondering. I'm trying to remember all of the story. In the Scarecrow, I said they all find their higher selves, right? It just takes one of the particular characters, one of those characters, and there's other beings in there as well that find their higher selves. Well, one in the very last book, one of those characters in particular ends up being the last one to find his true highest self, or their true highest self. They end up finding their true crown, and they come back home, their true home, which was, I'll just say, deep within. In a sense, it's depicted as a place, but they had to go deep inside of a place, I'll say, deep inside of a place in order to find that crown. And the beings, they were waiting for them to return, so long that it became like a myth about them returning. With this being, so many lineages have been passed to where the memory of their true self have been lost. But it's through this journey, it's through this constantly traveling, yes, being homesick, but then going back to the travel, going back to the process, that allow for them all to find their crown, or to fully activate and put on their crown, so they can fully get in touch and in tune with their soul energy, their soul matrix. Ashe. So that is today's spiritual lesson. So we'll go into the Q&A section. Ashe. Peace over to the Facebookers and to the OGs on IG. Peace over to all those on YouTube. We appreciate all your likes, shares, subscribes, as well as your super chats. Mystique Melon said they had to go on a journey to the crown. Ashe. They definitely did, and it took many journeys. That's why it was 15 books, or 15 or 16 books, right? Or adventures, you could really say 15, 16 adventures. Peace to Kwame Rose. Peace and grace to you as well. So I'll give you all a minute or two to come up with any questions, comments, or concerns. Otherwise, we'll just keep it on rolling. Peace to Graffiti. Ashe. And like I talked about yesterday, it's I think it was yesterday, where I was talking about, your growth. It's about, maybe it might have been the day before, about continuously growing, right? And forcing others to either grow with you or to, or grow without you, if they feel they need to do that, right? And in the Wizard of Oz series, they're all growing. They are all growing, and their growth inspires the other ones to grow more, to expand more, to right. And through that growth, it does cause them at times to pull apart and do their own thing, but then they come back and continue, on the journeys. Um, but if any one of them could not grow or could not continue to move on, then it would be difficult for them to reunite. Graffiti says, pouring up a shot of whiskey for the boss tomorrow. Shay. Shay. Graffiti says, from what you heard, what's your input from Duublé's read today? I only heard like that last big part that stood out to me, which was the home sick part and the Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz part. That was the part that I heard. I don't really remember what else was said. I kind of just took that and just ran with that energy. But what's your input on what she said? Pieces Oziga. And also, it can be sometimes difficult to really have an input on a lesson if you only catch a piece of it, right? Because sometimes you miss the context of it all. If he says it was brief, so I didn't really resonate with much. Ashe. Yeah, I find that I don't resonate with. There's not too many. There's not too much of anything that the amount of things I resonate with has gotten very small. Very small. In fact, even the things that I do listen to, the people I do listen to, I'm really not resonating with a lot of what they're saying either. I just I kind of use those little brief moments of where I'm gathering information. Were basically my studies. I talked about research versus studying, right? But during my studies, whether it's about aliens, whether it's about spirituality, whether it's about different dimensions, whether it's about health or whatever, a lot of that for me nowadays is all of it just is all about. It's like a distraction to me. It just feels like I use it as a distraction, really. A distraction for what? Just a distraction, just as a break from the spiritual work that I'm doing for self, the things I'm putting together, things I'm working on, the prayers and whatnot and the meditations. So everything that's like outside of self, to me nowadays, I really don't resonate with too much of anything. It's more just, I'll just pull out little pieces here and there. But it's hard for me to really listen to anybody nowadays, or to watch anything, or to. All of it just feels so foreign. Like it just doesn't feel like it's like the only true thing. Just feels like what's inside of me, really. Everything else just feels so foreign nowadays. Or just more and more, I should say, more and more as time has gone on. It's been doing that gradually, but I've been really feeling it very intensely this past, I guess, I don't know, 6 months to a year. Right, so like most things just sound like, in a sense, nonsense to me. Nonsense. Not that it's wrong. Not that it's people shouldn't be saying them or anything like that. It just like nonsense to me based on what I know needs to be done. So it's like, it's just, so it's, I can't say, it is a little challenging for me to really pay attention to what anyone's saying nowadays, right? But if someone's talking directly to me, I definitely listen with great intent, and my greatest level of understanding. Right? If someone's talking directly to me, it's all the energy that I have to hear what you're saying. But if they're not talking directly to me and they're just talking to an audience or talking, to somebody else, right, or even to themselves, then I hear them, but it's just I don't have much interest. It almost feels like a waste of time. But that's also because I know where I'm about to head into, where I'm going to go into a very, as inward as I may be now, I'm about to go very deeply inward for an extended period of time. I mean, I'll still be on here and things like that, but I'm about to go very deeply inward for just the majority of each day as well as each night. Deeper than I ever have before, definitely, with more intention than I ever have before. And it'll be interesting how my interaction, or my experience, I should say, how my experience with the world will be. It's already quite weird right now for me. Shit. He said, bro's attachment game is next level. Yeah, and there's still, well, it's that I learned some time ago, some years ago, that in order to detach, you must attach yourself, right? If you attach yourself to all things, you can just detach yourself from everything. And you attach yourself to everything by understanding everything more deeply. It's kind of like it's a wave, or it's like a roller coaster if you think about it. It's like the deeper that you I'll show you. Remember that lesson. The deeper that it's like the more you learn, the more separate things become. But then there's a certain threshold when you start getting into understanding. Now, if you just understand one field, one area, you're not gonna. Well, let's say, like, if you just understand, let's say if you're learning math, right? The more math you learn your multiplications, you learn your additions, your subtractions, your division. You learn your fractions. You learn your orders of operation. You learn your, exponents and whatnot. You learn your long division. You learn your square roots, your cubed roots, right? You learn your algebra. You learn your trigonometry. You learn your calculuses, right? the more, let's see, okay, Graffiti asked Duublé, have you ever done a read for Logas for me? That's a good question. Has she ever done a read for me? I'm sure she's done readings on me. I'm trying to think if she ever done a read for me though. What was I saying? So you learn all these maths. Duublé says, yes, there you go, Ashay. So you learn all these maths. The more maths you learn, it just becomes the more things, the more separate items, the more things you collect inside your room, called math. All of these formulas, area, geometry, volumes, all these things, right? You just keep adding more and more things, right? And it just becomes just a bunch of, it just shows you how separate and how many pieces to the universe there are. Right? But then, Duublé says years ago, I shouldn't, right? But then, if you go deep enough into math where you become like a PhD mathematician, at a certain point during that journey, you start to see how all the math coalesces together. I think that's the right word. How it all congeals into it's just this one symphony, really. Especially when you start getting into calculus, you start seeing like, oh, that's what all these maths are for. Calculus is essentially and you got calculus, you got physics, you got all these different maths. But calculus is essentially showing you the beginnings of engineering, the beginning stages of engineering, right? And calculus 1 doesn't really show you that. It's calculus 2, I think, that shows you that, if I remember. I took calculus 1 and 2 in college. I believe it's calculus 2. Where it starts to show you how it all starts to work together, what the math was really for. Right? So you start to create this one story, this one concept called math at a certain point of understanding. And then before, when everything was detached, where I have my geometry mind over here, I got my trigonometry mind over here, I got my algebra mind over here, I got my calculus mind over here, I got my statistics mind over here. I had all these different minds separated, these different compartments. It starts to, when you become a true mathematician, it all just becomes one thing. I got my physics mind over here, but it just all becomes one thing. It's all just math. It's all part of the field of math. One. And then you lose that. See, if you never become like a PhD mathematician, let's just say you become like a teacher, a math teacher, then you're attached to that one subject. You're attached to certain aspects of math. But then when you attach yourself to all the math by becoming an expert in math completely, then you end up becoming detached from math. You don't have it doesn't become like, okay, this is my favorite math. This is what I'm most connected to, or this is what I feel most comfortable with, or it's just like, or this is what I don't like dealing with this, or it's like, it's all just one thing. Therefore, you don't worry, you're not concerned about the outcome, you're not concerned about the results, you're not concerned about you're not concerned about the experience. You're only concerned about, where is the math leading you to? What is it explaining? Is this true or is it false? Is it real or is it not? Does it make sense or does it not make sense? And then you try it out, you do the formulas, work it out, and you just move on. You don't worry about the end result. You only worry about finishing the process to find out, is it true or is it not? Well, when you treat life that way, it's not about becoming an expert in everything. It's about when you start to when you treat life like I'm trying to understand life in all of its many aspects. Right? You're not going to know everything. You're not going to be educated in everything. No, but you can be well knowledgeable and just have a baseline fundamental understanding in each area. And that understanding, the more you understand, the more connections you make, the more you'll start to detach. Because the more connections you make, the more you're attaching. Right? If you look at all the organs as these separate entities, these separate things, then you'll be really attached to the heart disease, to the lung cancer, to the foot gout, right? To the fibroids, to the way you'll be really attached to that ailment in that body part. But when you look at the body as a complete a machine, a complete functioning system, when you see the system, not just see it because I told you there's a system, but you actually start, when you understand the system, the greater you understand the system, the more detached you become from this ailment and that ailment. Liver issues, gallbladder issues, kidney issues, throat issues, hair issues. You become detached. You have a stomach, or you feel like you have a cold or a flu, you become detached to those symptoms, those feelings. You're just like, oh, I have, my body is having issues with, there's too many of a certain bacteria. That's why I'm having these symptoms. That's all it means. Let me take something that I know that will get rid of excess unwanted bacteria. I'll take some oregano pills. You just detach yourself from the actual thing, right? Or someone else is sick and they have the vid or they have whatever, and you're just like, okay, that's cool. I'm just gonna take some chlorella. I'm just gonna eat one meal today. And I'm gonna ground. I'm gonna pray to get the spirits connected to that. Make sure they don't attach onto me. But otherwise, I'm not worried about you being sick. Right? Because I understand it. Therefore, I'm not attached to it. When you don't understand the disease, you don't understand the sickness, then you become worried about it, then you become attached to it. And then even if you're not worried about it, maybe you don't even know that they're sick. You still end up there subconsciously, you're still attached to it, and then you end up getting quote unquote sick. Right? It's because you're attached to it. And you're attached to it because you don't understand it. You don't understand it, so you need to understand it more deeply. So if you want to detach, you continue to study. Study to what? To understand. Understanding meaning to what? To connect. To connect, to see the big picture. You don't have to know all of the detailed pieces. Some of those detailed pieces will definitely help you, assist you in understanding the big picture, but at the end of the day, it's about how do things connect? How do the planets connect to the colors, and the colors connect to the organs, and the organs, connect to technology, and technology connects to history, and history connects to science, and science connects to spirituality, and spirituality connects to religion, and religion connects to the cosmos, and the cosmos connect to the planet, and the planet connects to the what's it called, the the quantum world, and the quantum world connects to time, and the time, you know, connects to the different multi-dimensions, and the multi-dimensions connect to the chakras, and the chakras connect to the soul, and how does the soul connect to existence? It's just like it's a continuous, travel of connecting. How do all of these things connect? If you're only studying one aspect, if you're studying any aspect or learning any aspect and you cannot make a connection, see, like some people, like sometimes they'll make analogies, like, you know, maybe like how hard was, you know, that test was as, you know, as hard as you know, you might say it's as hard as the Egyptians, you know, figuring out how to build the pyramids or something, right? You know, or someone else might say it's as hard as the skin of a rhinoceros, right? Someone else might say it's as hard as trying to have a smooth divorce in California, right? It's like it depends on what the person's coming from, but in all that, but those are all, you know, analogies, right? Where you're taking something that seems to have no connection, and you're showing the connection. All right. It's that ability to see those cross connections and things that seem like they have no connection. Remember that there's a science called string theory. And there's a science called, was it quantum physics, right? Quantum mechanics. And these concepts are all about stringing together, pulling together, showing you all how everything is connected, how it's all wired in and out of each other. But if you only study math and don't see how math is connected to history, if you can't see how history is connected to science, if you can't see how science is connected to fiction, if you can't see how fiction is connected to mythology, you can't see how mythology is connected to religion, or religion is connected to culture, and how culture is connected to relationships, how relationships is connected to health, and how health is connected to, if you can't see how these things are connected, if you only see everything as separate, then you'll forever be attached. And I still have attachments myself because I'm not, there's still things that I haven't accepted. There's still things that I'm not fully attached to. Therefore, there's certain things I'm still trying to detach from, but I can only detach from them if I successfully attach to them. Or I can only detach from them if I successfully attach to something else that would be connected to that thing. That's probably more accurate. There's certain things I'm still trying to detach from, but I can only fully detach from them if I fully attach to something else that evens out the scale, so to say. he says, so how can you relate the attachment, detachment to homecoming? Well, Dorothy and all of the characters were to an extent, they were all homesick. They're trying to find their way back home or to a home, right? And they were trying to detach themselves. They went on a journey because they were trying to detach themselves from a world, a paradigm, a philosophy, a concept. They were trying to detach themselves. But by trying to detach themselves, they find themselves just attaching themselves more to the things they're trying to detach from. And they also found that the things that they're trying to attach to, they were already attached to, and they were actually detaching themselves by thinking or telling themselves, I have to attach myself to this. I have to find a way to attach myself to the brains, to the courage, to the heart, to the home, whatever. Right? The wisest of all the beings, I don't know if to say the wisest, I'll just say, but one of the wisest of all the beings in the Wizard of Oz series is Toto. One of the wisest of all the beings in the Wizard of Oz series is Toto. Now, if you haven't read the series, then you might not know why. I don't want to spoil it for you if you have it, but you know, there might be a lot of things that I would spoil, but for some reason I don't want to spoil the Wizard of Oz. I would like for everyone to go and read that. I think it's a great series to read. It's just an awesome journey to go on, the Wizard of Oz, the whole series. But Toto was actually one of the wisest, and it takes about at least halfway through the series before you find out why. Otherwise, Toto just kind of seems like background noise. But there's a certain point where he reveals his wisdom, or his wisdom is revealed. And you come to find that it kind of always was there if you really paid attention. So there's no place like home. Ashe. Well, you know, they say, and this is how I try to live, actually, personally. They say home is where the heart is. Home is where the heart is. I will reveal this part. Dorothy was homesick. Now remember, she's in the land of Oz. And the land of Oz is Emerald City. It's green. Well, Emerald City is green. The land of Oz is many colors. It depends on where you're at in the land of Oz. There's different colors. But, you know, Emerald City is green. Right? Which is what? The heart chakra. Green is the heart chakra. Now, home is where the heart is. She was homesick. She wanted to go back to what? Her roots. The red shoes. She wanted to go back to the root chakra. She wanted to go back to her roots. Right? She wanted to go back to base instinct. She wanted to go back to where she had fallen from initially, where we all have fallen to first, right? How did she get the red shoes? The house fell. It fell. The swirl that came from the crown chakra, and the house fell onto the root chakra. fallen angel type concepts, right? So she fell, and she carried with her the, I guess you could say, the baggage from the root. She carried with her the baggage from the root. She wasn't ready to disconnect from physical reality. That's where she came from the physical world. She wasn't ready to disconnect from the physical reality. She didn't have much to learn in physical reality. She got what she already was done. She was trying to learn how to accept her true home, the inner self, the inner universe. That's why in each series she goes back to the land of Oz. She goes back. And actually, in the second book, I believe, or maybe the third, I'm pretty sure the second, maybe second or third book, one of those, she starts to miss being in the land of Oz. She starts to see that world as her real home. It's not on the farm anymore. She starts to see the land of Oz as her real home. So when you only watch the movie, there's this concept of being homesick, going back home. But actually, she comes to find out later, her true home was the land of Oz, and she became homesick of that home. So it was interesting. It ended up flipping, right? But the reason why she was homesick, because she saw the land of Oz as something separate. A separate world. When really she come to find that actually, and you see this in, I think, you see it actually in the second book, I believe the second book, because when she goes back, I believe second book is how it happened. I don't know if it's the second or the third one. Well, on both of them, there's two different ways she ends up going back to the land of Oz. One was she was just walking down a road, and then all of a sudden she's in the land of Oz, just walking down this road around by her house, and end up walking into the land of Oz. Another one, she's on a boat with her grandpa, and a storm is happening, and the storm ends up taking them into the land of Oz once again. So the two worlds slowly merge more and more each book. So when before she was trying to detach herself from the land of Oz and go back home, she then ended up trying to detach herself from the home and wanted to be in land of Oz. And then more as the books go along, she starts to attach herself to both worlds and starts to attach both worlds together. And it's in that process and while she's doing that, she's actually attaching everyone in the land of Oz as well. She's attaching everyone in the land of Oz. There's so many different journeys and so many different adventures that happen in the series. So many different places that she goes, and so many different people that she helps, and awakenings that happen, and enlightenments, right? The land of Oz isn't even the most magical place. Or let me change that. Let me be more accurate. Emerald City, where the Wizard of Oz was originally found, right, is not the most magical place in the land of Oz. Emerald City is not the most magical place. Even the witches, the good witch of the north, the good witch of the south, they're not even the most, they're pretty powerful, especially I think the North Witch, but they're still not the most magical beings. There are way more magical and way more, I'll say more, not magical necessarily, but more powerful beings in the series. And they live in a completely other world. They live in a shadow world. That's where your shadow work is. That's what you're trying to find. If you only stay surface level, which is like the chakras, which is like the third eye, if you only stay on that level, that's where you're dealing with, like, okay, you got some magic here, some manifestations here and there, right? That's what you're going to end up dealing with, right? That's the furthest you're going to go. It's just manifestations and some rituals and things like that. But when you got to go into the real deep, into the shadow world, like they do in the Wizard of Oz series, as you go deeper into the series, like into the double-digit number books, that's where you start to see that's where the real power resides. That's where your true potential as a being actually is covered up. That's where it's actually at. Yeah, so I highly recommend. I'm definitely going to have, like, my son right now, I have him reading the book, The Giver. I had him read 1984 before that. The first book I actually had him read was my book, right? That's pretty dope, right? Have your child read your own book, first. I had him read 1984. I had him read, I'm having him read The Giver right now. I'll probably have him read The Alchemist next. But very soon, though, I'll have him read the Wizard of Oz series. So I recommend, go on Amazon, order the series. It's definitely worth the buy. If you want something to help you to expand your, I'll say, your third eye understanding, to expand it, to the level that it needs to be in order to go, to enter, to allow yourself to trust yourself enough to transcend, I would say get that series. That's definitely a must-have for your spiritual development. That's a must-have. Graffiti says, I'm actually about to pick up a book I brought back in December. It's called Son of the Storm, Ashe. Let me know how that book treats you. Piece of John Wagner and Mr. Bland's Bay. Ashe. So I think I got to everything tonight. Oh, let me check in the box real quick. I did see something. Someone did put in here, I don't know if this was new or not, but they said in the question box, it's crazy learning from you guys that seeing how the world around me plays out, or then seeing how the world around me plays out. Ashe. Well, what's happening, the reason how what's happening is everything is like, converging. Everything is converging. So a lot of what's being said is what's about to actually happen. A lot of what's happening is what's about to be said. It's like all these, these timelines and wavelengths are merging and converging, right? A good example or depiction of what I'm talking about, this convergence is the anime called Berserk. Now, you have the Netflix series of Berserk. You have the old television show Berserk, which the movies on Netflix, I think they're still on Netflix. The Berserk movies, though they were made in the 2000s, and I think the TV show was like in the 80s or 90s, the movies are prequels to the show. They're prequels to the show. Griffith says, is that the series with Guts? Yes, with Guts and Griffith, right? Now, in the movie and in the show, in the show, you're seeing the prequel to the merging of the spiritual world, what we call spiritual world, and the physical world. You see the prequel to all that in the movies. Then when you go to the show, because then I went back after I watched the movie, I didn't watch the old show. It then shows you that how that mergence is playing out. And then you start to see how it's slowly, like beasts are being seen amongst, common people in a more open way. And then but that only goes so far. So then to go further, you didn't have to go and read the manga. And then when you read the manga, right, then it goes further, and then you go even deeper into this merging of the two worlds. And what's interesting about it is that basically the whole planet becomes almost uninhabitable by regular physical human beings, right? You kind of see this in Solo Leveling as well, the new anime show Solo Leveling. You kind of see that in Jujutsu Kaisen as well. You're seeing these depictions, they're showing us, or you're showing yourself, however you want to look at it, how you're going to have to raise and you have to raise your spiritual. What does it mean to raise your spiritual vibration? You're going to have to activate your spiritual power in a real way. If you look at Solo Leveling, it's not going to be enough just to be an E rank, a D rank, a C rank spiritual worker. Meaning it's not going to be enough anymore. Just right now you have a little bit of time because we're in the golden age. You have a little bit of time, right? If I had to guess, I think we have about I say at least 20 years. I think it's gonna be about we have a minimum of 10 years, I believe, in this golden age, right? But I think it'll be at least about anywhere from 20 to 40 years of the golden age experience. I'll say it that way. Anywhere from 20 to 40 years is what I think. But in 20, 40 years, I'll be in 40 years, I'll be 74, 75. 20 years, I'll be 54, 55. So we can very easily still be here. So what level are you going to be when we come out of that age? Because then we're going to have to deal with these spiritual energies coming in at a in a real way. We started to see that. We started to see glimpses of that during the Biden administration. the Biden. Joe Biden, just him, his name alone, he's a Biden. A Biden is a Aquaman has a trident. Aquaman has a trident. The old stuff is called a trident. If you watch the animated series Blood of Zeus on Netflix, Hades has a staff as well, and it's called a bident. So when Biden became president, I knew whenever I watched the show, I didn't put two and two together. I was like, oh, I see the spiritual significance of the underworld is taking over, or the underworld is being unleashed, right? That's why you saw all of these. It's like every day these crazy things are just happening. Aliens walking in malls and there's all kind of like crazy stuff like every day, every week, every wars were starting to bust off and everything, right? But it was only a glimpse into what's to come. It was a glimpse. So we got the glimpse, and now things are kind of repatching itself back up. This is why I say to game 342. This is why I say, right? I see a lot of people where, we come, we talk spiritual, we talk health, we talk history, we talk money, we talk whatever, right? But then, people get caught up in their feelings and emotions and their everyday challenges, right? And works, and, they get caught up, and then they forget very quickly that the spiritual thing is real, and it's we had a taste of it, of what the world was, going into hell in a handbasket, right? I'm gonna show a drawing of what that wavelength looks like. I'm gonna try to do it tomorrow. But yeah, like we got a taste of it. We're going back up for a little bit into this golden age, right? Which is the real thing, and then we're gonna dip into the real underworld after that in 20 to 40 years, I believe. I don't have the exact number, but I think somewhere between that time. The question is, are you going to be ready? I know me, I'm working very hard, very diligently, trying to prepare because, I know how real it is. I know how real it is. And, we're giving all these depictions on how it is, so. You can play around with it if you want to. You're gonna find out. You're gonna F around and find out, as they say. So that's why it's like I'm hearing things, I'm watching this, I'm listening to that, but it's all like feel so detached from it because I'm like, that's not what's really important. It's about getting ready. In a sense, getting ready for the rapture, right? If maybe that'll help people to understand it in an analogous way. You have to prepare for the rapture. People talk about the rapture for a long time. The rapture is coming now. It is coming, but it's not going to be based off of the biblical sense, the biblical way, quite like that. But you might find some similarities though, because that's how the Matrix works. But just the rapture. What's rapture sound like? Raptors, Canada. Who's in Canada? Drake. Anyway, you've seen the battle between Los Angeles, the Lost Angels. The Lost Angels. Trying to fight the Raptors, the Rapture. Kendrick. Anyway. So, it's showing us what it is. The angels kind of pushed off the rapture for a brief period of time. It's only brief. Graffiti says, I know my power is going to go crazy when I unlock my true potential. Well, yeah, because we all have the same potential. all have some potential. Everyone's power is very crazy. It's all right there. I mean, it's, whatever you can imagine. I'll shade to Envy Nani, got the dead face. Yeah, whatever you can imagine, that's how powerful you could be. Someone said in the box, I feel like I'm seeing through the reality. It's bothersome, but showing me what's happening / fake or pretend. It's both. It's both. It's fake and it's what's happening, and it's also what's not happening. It's real and it's also fake, and that's the thing. That's the tricky part about it all, because when these worlds start merging, it's like the best way to look at it is how I look at it. Everything is real, therefore everything is also not real. If everything is real, that means nothing's real. That's the same thing as saying nothing's real. It means everything's the same, because all things that are not real have to then be real. And all things that are real then have to be not real, because there's always a duality. So if everything's real, then everything's not real. If everything's not real, then everything is real. Right? So, therefore, it allows you to deal with to maneuver that understanding, allows you to operate and contort and manipulate reality as well as the fake reality. You're able to manipulate the three-dimensional world as well as the two-dimensional world, like drawings and whatnot. The one-dimensional world, like time. The fourth-dimensional world, the fifth-dimensional world, the sixth-dimensional world. It's all real and it's all fake. NV90 says NV90, like I said, she put the dead face on there. Graffiti says, all the elements at my command with the snap of a finger. Says Graffiti, Ashe, but understand, I want you, I'm glad you said that. Graffiti says, and that's just scratching the surface. I'm glad you said that, Graffiti. Maybe I can hang my hat on this part right here, because I really want you guys to understand. Since I'm on here explaining it. The idea that you can just Thanos snap. Let me charge this phone up. The idea that you can just Thanos snap things. Thanos snap the abilities, right? As you say, snapping the elements at your command. It is a real thing. But it's not something that just happens. Thanos became Thanos because he went on a journey. And that journey required a lot of fighting, a lot of death, a lot of battles, a lot of war, a lot of pain. Avatar, the cartoon, he had to go through a lot of battles, a lot of war, a lot of death, a lot of pain. You can have these powers where you can just Thanos snap things under your control and into existence and out of existence, but only if you are willing to go through the work, the battles, and the pain. That's the only way you can get there. It's not something that just turns on just because it's 2025. It's not how it works. Guess I'm going too deep for Instagram. It was like the connection's breaking up. But now at the same time, If you look at solar leveling, there is an idea where powers do activate in different beings, and some people do get a great amount of powers without doing much. It just kind of, but that's like someone being naturally fast or naturally strong or naturally big. You know, you're gonna have that. But in order to have true power, godlike power, true godlike power, then you know it's going to take a lot of work. And when I say work, I mean pain. A lot of focus, a lot of sacrifice. That's probably really the key thing. It doesn't necessarily always have to be painful, but definitely has to be a lot of sacrifice, though. How much are you willing to sacrifice to become God, in a sense, right? Somebody said in the box, I wish I was more knowledgeable about these things to better explain. Well, then just become more knowledgeable. Continue to study so you can become more knowledgeable, so you can explain better. Someone else in the box also says, in different words, what you call knowing something would happen before it happens, or what is said. Peace to India Wilson. Yeah, you know, not necessarily, I guess, premonitions sometimes, or just, you know, intuitive knowing or instinctual, you know, things like that. India was you a Virgo or an Earth sign? I'm actually an Aries. I'm a fire sign. Right? But I do have a lot of Capricorn in my chart, though. So I do have a pretty significant amount of Earth in my chart. Refuses all elements at my command. Oh, yeah, I already said that part. And that's just got. Okay, I read that part. Graffiti says, next time I come for a clearing, we're gonna work with the storm. I see myself summoning lightning often when under spiritual attack. Ashe. Ashe. And it was like earth signs. Ashe. Yeah, lightning is a higher form of fire. Lightning is a higher form of fire. How do we know? We see this in the Avatar show. Lightning is a higher form of fire. We also see this in Naruto. You got Sasuke working with the highest form of fire, which is black fire. And then he also works with lightning. Right? So fire and lightning are attached to each other. Graffiti says, I use a volcano and sea storms when creating a barrier for my aura. Ashe. Demon Slayer says, Bell Reed. Demon Slayer, yeah. Demon Slayer, I really like. Demon Slayer is a pretty dope show, and the graphics are pretty incredible and everything. But I couldn't get past the first season only because, you know, there was too many emotions going on with the main character. You know, it was like every 2 episodes, like every other episode, I'm like about to start crying. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do that. I know I talked about that before, so, you know. But, yeah, Ashe, though. Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is deep because he's walking around with his, you know, demonic sister, and he's trying to keep it under control and point it in a positive direction. That's how a lot of our relationships are, really. We got all these demon energies, and we're trying to keep them under control and trying to point them in positive direction, but, you know, it doesn't always end up as positive as we like it because it's still a demon, right? It's deep, though. How long have you been doing this? I've been on this the spiritual, deep in the spiritual work for about, I don't know, 7-8 years now. It's about 2017 is when I really got into it, as far as the spiritual side of things. Okay, and let me look into the box real quick. They said, in the spiritual way or knowing. I'm not sure exactly what you meant by that question, but I should. Yeah, you've been on Oranum. I don't know what Oranum is, India Wilson. But I should. So, I think I've gotten to everything I need to get to. Ornum is a site, okay. I'm gonna have to check it out then. And V90 says, how is your guys' spot in the mall doing? Well, that spot's been gone for about, I guess about 8 months now. So it's been non-existent for a little while. Shay India Wilson. Oranum. Okay. Shay, so we'll go ahead and I think now I can shut it down. Yep, NV, it's been gone for a little while. So we'll go ahead and say Ashe, Asante, and Amen. Ime Kamalika, it is done. And we will see you tomorrow. Ashe.